Thank you. Thank you very much. I want to thank Justin and Aaron and everyone at CPEP for doing the work that they do. And I want to do a little pitch for the raffle because actually a book that I've written, I've donated to the raffle. So if you haven't been back there, have a look. What I'm going to read tonight is something that I wrote while I was incarcerated. I was locked up in a country called Zambia. I was actually born there. Mr. Banda back there. I was born there. I was educated here in Canada. I was living in Zambia, and I'm a journalist, and I was locked up for the work that I was doing there. And I really hate to do this to everyone, but I need a little bit of silence.
Guys, please respect the performers. Please slowly.
You know, like, yeah. This is part of my recovery from being locked up. When I wrote this, I didn't know I've been incarcerated for 4 months. A couple of weeks after I wrote this, I was actually released. I was acquitted and I was released. But I wanted to share it with you because this is definitely part of my recovery. So some of this may not make a lot of sense to you, but it means a lot to me to be able to share it with you. So, an inmate on independence. Along with more than 22,000 fellow inmates across the country, I observed the 53rd anniversary of Zambia's independence as a guest of the state. Watching the festivities on TV in our jail cell, I couldn't help but question the official themes of peace, unity, independence, and patriotism. From behind the barbed walls of Kamwala Remand Prison, here's how I view the 2017 Independence Day celebrations. Number 1, peace. Violence is a daily reality for most Zambians, whether it is physical, mental, political, or economic. Domestic violence against women and children is at epidemic levels, fueled by out-of-control alcohol abuse. The shamefully high levels of poverty and social neglect lead directly to physical violence, not to mention the psychological harm done to people who cannot afford to buy food, access health care, or educate their children. If youth unemployment was considered a form of violence, the entire country would be seen as a battleground, with millions of victims who have little or no chance of finding the kind of secure, well-paid jobs that underpin a productive society. Neither does the myth of Zambia as a peaceful nation hold up to historical scrutiny. Ask the survivors of the Lumpa church massacres about this peaceful nation. Ask the victims of Green Leader and his bombers. Ask the victims of political violence, among them liberation hero Simon Kapwepwe, murdered in cold blood by government thugs on the streets of Lusaka in 1979. Ask the families of the 8 convicts who were executed in 1997, hanged in secret in Mukobeko prison by the father of the so-called Christian nation, President Frederick Chiluba. Zambia has not experienced the civil wars that ravaged our neighbors, but we cannot claim to be at peace while countless poor and vulnerable Zambians suffer daily violence at the hands of family members, political thugs, and police and security forces, such as the Drug Enforcement Commission, who arrested me, who hold themselves above the law. 2, unity. Since the first general election in 1961, Zambia's body politic has been split in half. The voting blocs that emerged from that election still exist today. Southern, Western, and Northwestern province versus the rest of the country. That split in the nation's body politic, in the political fabric of the country, has led directly to the rampant and shameless tribalism that is now perpetrated by politicians and pundits of all stripes. President Kaunda's abrogation of the Barotseland Agreement in 1964 still breeds resentment and division in Western Province. Witness the 4 secessionists currently in prison for the so-called treason of demanding recognition of their treaty rights. The slogan, "One Zambia, One Nation," was a clever piece of propaganda by the Kaunda regime after independence, but it has not stood the test of time nor reality. Far from being united, Zambia has never been so divided politically, socially, and economically. 3, development. There could be no clearer sign of the government's lack of commitment to national development than the cuts to education spending in next year's budget. Development is not million-dollar fire trucks and billion-dollar highways. Development is not the building of shopping malls and casinos. Development is the investment in people, in education, in healthcare, and in social welfare. There can be no development in this country or any country until government gets serious about developing the minds and bodies of young people. 90% of Zambians who are under 34 years old. 4, patriotism. Mindless flag waving and unquestioning allegiance to one's country is not patriotism. It is nationalism. The most patriotic thing any citizen of any country can do is to question, criticize, and protest his or her government. Protest is the sincerest form of patriotism. In Zambia, however, true patriots, such as Laura Miti and Fumba Chama, are not only arrested for peacefully protesting corruption, they are also threatened by the ruling party's proto-fascist goon squad. As long as free expression and social protest are policed by the Public Order Act and by thugs in and out of uniform, there can be no patriotism in Zambia. So much for the official themes of Independence Day 2017. To me, the most striking image from the festivities at State House was the giant cake, shaped like Zambia, that was cut up and fed to dignitaries in attendance. This is what independence has achieved. The rich and powerful eat cake, while the rest of the country watches with empty bellies. And how did we prisoners spend the day? Many of the convicts watching the TV were praying for a traditional Independence Day pardon. But this year, ignoring decades of tradition and ignoring record levels of prison overcrowding, President Edgar Lungu failed to pardon a single prisoner. Perhaps he was too busy eating cake.